Right, and we are live. It's lovely to see everyone who's been able to join us today. And my name is Pay Bentu, and this is another interesting edition of PayTalks. And we've got another interesting topic today. But first of all, I've got to ask you how the weather is where you're at. In Swansea, Wales, it's a very warm day today. The sun is out, and we've had a very bright sun all week this week, and its temperature is quite high. Yumna, you must agree with me.
Yes, definitely. The temperatures are high. It feels nice during the day. I'm not gonna complain, but in the
No,
evening, the sleeps are getting slightly more agitated.
I would imagine so. Yes, it does get quite muggy at night and quite difficult to sleep as well. But as
Yeah.
you said, let's enjoy it while we've got it, because when the rains come back and it starts getting cold again, we
Hmm.
would still be moaning about it.
Very much, and
So
I'm
let's
enjoying.
enjoy this one.
Yeah.
So today I've got Dr. Youmna Mouhamad with me, and we're going to be talking about Afro hair and pride. And this is why I've got my hair out, my natural hair, I must confess, out today, because we're going to be talking about what it feels like to wear this sort of hair and how do we take care of our nappy hair, our Afro hair, as
Hmm.
women of color, as Black women, as ethnic minority women? How do we care for this hair? And how much pride do we need to have in our hair? And I am very happy to be wearing my hair this way. And I think looks wise, I would say this is my pride. This
Mm.
look should be, the look that I should carry with every sense of, pride
Yeah.
about my race. But there we are. A little about Dr. Youmna Mouhamad, who is here with me today. First and foremost, before I go any further into all the other things that Youmna does, she is the CEO, the chief exec of Myana Naturals. And I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly, Youmna. Is it
Perfect.
Myana?
Yes, perfect.
Myana Naturals. And Myana Naturals is a startup with a patented detangling tool for Black women with natural hair like mine. And for all of you Black women out there who carry your natural hair around, this is a magic tool, a wonder tool that's going to make it really easy for you to care for your hair and carry it with all the pride that you need to carry it with. So let's start. First of all, what was it that inspired you to start Myana? To start Myana Naturals, that wonder tool.
Well, lots of different things. When you speak about hair, hair has different meaning for everyone. And I think for me, coming from where I am here, actually for me means sisterhood. Because in my culture, my mom had four daughters. Okay, I'm one of three sisters, and she will sit us every Sunday and do our hair, and braid it every single Sunday. And for me, doing hair was that moment I will spend connecting with my sister, connecting with my mom. There'll be lots of tears though.
Tell me about it.
All girls, you lose patience after the, after the first one. But yeah, it just reminded me of those connection moments. So I've always taken, my mom has specifically always refused to let me relax my hair, do extension, do anything to my hair. And so I was kind of forced to learn to deal with it. But in a way, because of the memories of my childhood, I always took that moment as like my me time is a time where I'm looking after myself, so I'll take a whole Sunday, do different stuff. So that was pretty much my relationship with her. But then couple of different things happened when I was the final year of my PhD. I was looking after a beautiful girl, and she will cry every Sunday when her mom did her hair. And most precisely, she will cry when her mom have actually applied shampoo and in the process of applying conditioner. Because the hair is so tangled, like you have to work in section, apply, and then detangle. And it really, really got to me, the fact that she would be so much in tears. But the other thing that got to me is that she will openly tell me, Auntie, I don't like your hair. And I was like, oh, but my hair just looks like yours. If you don't like my hair, what does it mean? I just kept it for myself. But then I got to understand lots of different things, when I dropped her in school one day, and I decided to pass by the ladies. And because every morning she would also cry, she say, I want my hair straight and in a ponytail. And I didn't quite understand. So one day I drop her in school and I decide to pass by the ladies. And there I see like four girls in a queue, after one after the other, all with straight hair, doing each other's hair. And I was like, ouch, bless her. Everything is not just because of the pain she experienced, but it's also the fact that she's excluded from that,
Yeah.
like,
Absolutely.
bonding, relationship building thing with her mates.
Yeah.
And
And
it
girls
really,
have that thing about themselves, isn't it? They all want to look alike. They all want to wear the same sort of thing. If one girl's wearing, one thing, it becomes a fashion for, a group of
exactly.
friends and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't blame her at that, especially at that age, so
Mhm.
young. So it really, really did got to me. So it just kind of like stayed in my head, like, oh, it would be fantastic if I could change something, at least, for her haircare experience. I can't change, as I say, I can't change the reality that unfortunately she's gonna have experiences where she will feel slightly excluded just because of a difference and different things. But I would like to change something of her haircare experience. So that was my motivation. And it stayed an idea, but then when I started working in the field of printing and coating, working quite in a high technical field where we use printing and coating technologies to be able to deposit layers and create it like electrical printed layers with electrical properties. So I was all into that field of printing and coating. And so somehow the idea came back to me. And now I had the knowledge and the experience of working in the field of printing and coating. And so from there, I worked with different people and then came up to invent what I call detangling, Myana detangling tool, which enabled to apply your lotion at the same time distribute it and at the same time detangle. Huge
Hmm.
time saver. I use it every day. Huge.
So you've started using it before you've put it out in the market, have you?
Yeah, and not only I use it, but I worked with 50 women in total to develop
Wow.
it. So the first time I had the idea, we're just like I was scared. It's like, okay, I asked my sister, do you think it's a good idea? Like, it will be a great idea. I asked my friends, but I thought, oh, they're just being nice. They're just my friends. It's not. So I decided to have a prototype, make a prototype, and then invite 20 women.
Mm.
And it was interesting. I had a mixture of women and student and working women, and the whole 20 women say, wow, this will really change my life, and it will really, there was nothing like that gave me the same experience, which
Mhm.
was a bit scary because when you just have a little idea, you're just like, okay, I'm just having fun, see where it goes. But suddenly it kind of hit home that this is a great idea. So from there on, I kept working, and then lately, the last 4 months, I've trialed it with another 30 women. I've improved a lot
Wow.
to the ergonomy and trialed it with other 30 women to just
Mm.
gather that experience. And the data is repeating itself that it will is something that will add lots of benefit and value to the life. And the one that touched me is when I hear the mom say, "My daughter will enjoy having her hair done. My daughter's and her experience will be a moment where I connect with her, and I'm like, oh yay."
Oh, that's the beauty of it. Now you're making me really emotional because I'm starting to think I should have a daughter. I should be trying that on my daughter's hair. But look at the extended beauty, and that's the fact that I can try it on my own hair. And
Yes, indeed.
like yourself, like so many other Black women around the world, I have struggled with my hair. Just
Yeah,
putting a comb, as you can see, after washing the hair, I put it in plaits
yeah,
and then took off the plaits today,
yeah,
obviously to do the show. But it's just that thought of putting a comb through it, and I'm thinking, no, I can't be bothered, because it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of being careful and working
yeah,
through the tangles as well. So
yeah.
I just decided, you know what, just let it down, just leave it like that and think about it after the
It
show.
looks fab. It looks fab.
So it's a very exciting, phenomenon to be thinking that there's a tool that's coming that's actually going to make caring for our hair really easy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like a whole research. How long is it taking you to get to the point where you are now?
Oh wow, okay. It took me quite a long time to be fair.
Oh,
I
wow.
think I started working in 2018, 2018. But the idea I had is in 2016, yeah. But I was in not in the right mindset to actually develop my idea. And I just told all of my good friends, promise me that you hold me accountable about this idea, that I do something. I didn't do anything for 2 years.
And I
The
can
research,
imagine you must have been right in the middle of doing your research as well, the PhD research. And gosh, how much time, between doing a PhD research and a product research
yeah,
for a very wide market, a global market, I would say. And, being a Royal Academy of Engineering Enterprise Fellow at the University of South Wales
yes.
and Chief Exec of Myana as well, being in the sciences and then delving into business to come up with this product. How do you juggle between those two?
Well, everything kind of like worked nicely because I had finished my PhD. By the time I was working in Swansea, I was a researcher, so it's what I love the job because it's all about R&D. It's about problem solving. People come to you with a problem and then you solve it. So that has somehow fostered my mind into finding solution for everything. Oh, that's interesting. What could I do to, you know what I mean? So it becomes a very natural thing. Well, before I was doing some physics, some mathematics and stuff like that. So yeah, but literally the time that I was not working full time in the business, it just asked discipline. It just asked to be disciplined in the sense that, I still had to do my work, but I had this idea. So I would wake up sometime at 4 a.m. to work in the business aspect of things, catch up with things that I needed to do. And then after that, go to work and then work sometime more after that. So, I have to say that I used to be a busy bee, doing lots of different activity. I just reduced because I knew I knew what I wanted to achieve, and I knew where I wanted that I really wanted to give this a go, because my philosophy is when I'm like 90, and inshallah God allow me to stay till there, but it's like I want to be in my chair and just like, what, when my grandkid ask me, I'll tell them, and not I did, mommy did everything that she ever wanted to do. So for me, it was just like, what, let's go, have nothing to lose. And
Yeah.
so I put the discipline in the structure to be able to follow the two. And then when I got the Royal Academy of Engineering Enterprise Fellowship, it's an amazing opportunity because yes, I am the CEO of Myana. I I am a Royal Academy of Enterprise Fellow, but actually the fellowship, my job is actually to do my business, because the academy, the Enterprise Fellow, as you say, enterprise, the word into it, is for researcher that came up with an innovative idea that has commercial viability. So they are given a whole year from the Royal Academy of Engineering that pays their salary, but also a little bit of fund that go towards the business for them to actually take the idea from an idea to a product that then will go out there. So it's an amazing scheme that has just been supporting me over the last year. And I'm really, really grateful that it's been extended for 3 more months
Oh,
to
wow.
overcome all of the challenges that were caused with COVID regarding customer interaction during the customer review and stuff like that. So I will just say, before the academy, discipline, to be honest, even now, discipline, and I just want more discipline because I just know how much more I could do if I was more disciplined. But it hasn't been too much of a challenge, because I think when you have clarity about what you want, you just put the work.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, oftentimes success doesn't come without challenges, isn't it? And it's that level of commitment that you put into it that actually determines how far you go with whatever it is you want to do, if it's a product or a service in business. So, where exactly are you now with the product? Are we expecting it in the market like
Yes.
next month,
Yes.
next 3 months?
So excited. I
I
can't
know.
believe.
I'm very excited about it. I mean, I can't wait to see it. And more so, because I've followed a bit of the journey of that product, haven't I?
Yeah.
And to I think probably from the time you were setting up the business, you must have
Mhm.
run a couple of, levels of experiments by then.
Exactly. Yeah.
But to where it is today, ready to be pushed out into the Afro market, I mean, it's just amazing, how far you've come. And I really wish, talking about it now, that if there are any women, Afro women listening to us right now, watching us right now, that they would really understand, how huge this product will be in the market. Are you planning to, make it a global market?
The big dream. So we are just like you say. So I've been through different processes where I first tested the idea. Tested the idea. Is it an interest? Then the mechanism also, and then it was about how to make it nice, look nice. Because after all, we like pretty stuff. I personally like
Yes,
pretty stuff and things with
absolutely.
colors, and also to make it easy to use. So the last bit of research I was doing is actually make it easy to use and just make sure that the women don't enjoy the process of using it. So really, where I am right now, I'm in the phase of wrapping it all with the packaging, which is pretty much done, and raising funds to be able to go to market. But yeah, so I think this year, in I would say maybe 3 4 months, things will start going.
And I can't help but ask you this question. What exactly is that thing? Is it a comb? Is it an applicator? Is it a hairbrush? Is it, what does it look like?
Mm, patience, you got to be patient.
Okay, okay, apologize. I'm getting overly excited here. Okay, I'm just going to try and practice my name here. I'm going to try and be patient. I'm going to try and wait for it until
Soon,
the launch.
soon, 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 I will introduce you what I call my baby. It's like,
And
ooh.
yes, I promise you, we'll bring our PayTalks cameras out to that launch because I would love to be the first person to introduce it to the world. Well, after you, of course.
Very soon, very soon, very soon.
You mentioned earlier, about challenges as you were going along. What are some of the challenges that you encountered along
I
the
have to say, that I came, being in a university was a huge strength
way?
because you're not only you have the right mindset, but you're aware of opportunities around to support you. So, for example, Swansea University, Agora IP structure helped me at the very early beginning. When with simple things like market research and stuff like that. But I think really and I was aware of lots of different grants, not necessarily grant for people like me regarding people who, because lots of the grants, the way they work is called, there is this thing called match funding, yeah. So you need to come up with some money and then they give you
They give you the
70% of, and I didn't have any money. So I'm like, okay, this is not useful for me because I don't have any money. So what I did is I work with structure that were around, like people like Cardiff Fab Lab, where you go and then they create prototype for you and then they have designers and engineers and stuff like that. But so that part has been a challenge. But I think for me, really, the biggest challenge has been me getting out of my own way, I would say, getting out of my own way. Because I had the wrong mindset. I had my relationship with money was not where it was supposed to be. My mindset when it's come to owning and going for what I want without being worried of the expectation that people have on me. So, for being from coming from the background I come from, the expectation when I finished my PhD was getting married and having babies, and that was not necessarily what I wanted to do. I wanted to pursue these things. So,
It's
how
a
do
bit
I?
typical of our culture, isn't it? That's the expectation. When you graduate, you expected to get married and start popping the babies, and that's it. Confined to the
So,
kitchen and the household, and
exactly,
that's it.
exactly, exactly. And so, how do you juggle between the expectations of your family and what you want? and I didn't really take ownership there, and so I was almost self-sabotaging. So I worked with a life coach that you know very well for literally 4 years, and together we did such an amazing work to just unravel. I would just say we just peel layers of things that had stained my mindset, stained my the image of myself, stained lots of different things. And once those things were kind of like taken out, I really made a commitment to myself, I would say. I made a commitment to really go for what I want, because at the end of the day, if I don't go for what I want, when I'm 60, I can't blame, any family members. They are not there. I'm the one who take the decision. They wanted me too, but I can still be accountable and actually make my own choice. So I made a choice, and I say I choose me. And by choosing me, I also chose my dream, because for me, the business is not just a business, it's a way to actually fulfill my purpose, in the sense that what I want Mayana to be is a place where, yes, I want a space where you have a successful business, but through the successful business, I want to give back to the community by providing personal development programs to young women. Because
Mm.
the thing is, when we speak about, whether we speak about hair, whether we speak about identity, the thing is, we are not our hair, you know we are not a hair. And I say, in the society can send so many different images, but if we are grounded, you know into who we are and what we want, we might face obstacle, but nobody can shake us. We'd be like, like an oak tree. So I want to be able to give through the business, to be able to give that to young women. So once I knew that, I was like, okay, there is no, this is where I'm going. And regardless, what, of course things happen, challenges happen, but in the hard moment, the doubtful moment, I remember, what is this for? What I intend to do through it. Do you see what I mean? So I would say it was getting on my own way was the biggest problem.
And it's such a huge and very deep thing that you said about identity,
Yeah,
and I think that in the sense of identity, your product is coming at such a very timely moment,
indeed, yeah.
because we looked at, and I think you were I saw it first from you. You shared it, the news about hairdressers in the United Kingdom now, and how the UK regulations have changed. They've been updated, and it has now become mandatory for all hairdressers to learn to cut Afro hair. Now, I don't know if it goes beyond just cutting Afro hair, or there's more of, Afro hairstyles that they need to put into that as well. But it's such a welcome, It may be a little too late, but it's never too late. This should have happened like 50 years ago, but it's never too late. It's such a welcome news. And when it broke, I know that the news went viral on social media,
Indeed, yeah,
and
indeed, yeah.
virtually every Black woman that I knew on social media was sharing it. And there was so many different media that carried the news. What do you think? Is it a little too late?
You know what? I mean, it is what it is, but finally, at last, it's an
Mm.
amazing news. It's really just like we can go in the past and complain, but it is what it is. It should have been earlier, but it's
Mm.
nice that it's finally arrived, because
Yeah.
it does do something when you enter a saloon and then you have to ask, do you manage Afro hair? And then they say no, and then you go to the next one. It almost make you feel like a bit alienated, that almost something is wrong with you as an individual.
Hmm.
And so, and also many experiences. I don't know about you, but I had experiences when I went to saloon, and people say I had some very funny experiences that I laughed, that really got me to giggle properly, and some that were really not pleasant, because in some cases they say they know how to manage Afro hair, but actually they don't know how to manage Afro hair. And
That's
you end up being tortured, the way they manage the hair, because they don't realize how much tangling happens
hmm
in the process of washing it. And then when it's time to detangle, it's just like panic on board, and you are sitting there in pain. And also experiences where clearly the person didn't know how to manage their hair, and they just kind of like I think they were slightly overly confident about it. So knowing that I can enter any salon and actually get my hair done is an amazing thing. Although I don't go to salon very much often, but I think that's something that my mom instilled in me, that whole cultural thing that women do their hair and stuff like that. So I tend to do my
Themselves,
own
yeah.
hair. I
Yeah.
tend to do my own hair. So, but it's nice that if I want to go get my hair trimmed, that's usually why when I go to the hairdresser, when I
Mhm.
want to get it trimmed, I can go anywhere and actually get it done properly. It's fine.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is just knowing that you've got that choice. It's there, it's
Exactly.
available for you when you need, if and when you need it. And I know that it might be a little while now before we actually, get it
See it.
to to be actually practicalized, because the regulations have only just been changed. The hairdressers have to receive the training
Exactly.
before we get to that very comfortable zone where we can say, yes, I can go out at any time and get my hair trimmed. Like you, I have struggled with my hair as well, coming to live in the United Kingdom. I've learned how to become a hairdresser, my own hairdresser for lack of choice, for lack of where to go to. And so I've learned to perm my hair,
Wow. Okay.
and I've had quite a few nasty experiences burning my scalp, just not being able to do it properly. But
Okay.
there was no other choice.
Okay.
There's usually no other choice. And then finally in Swansea, I found one or two hairdressers who did Afro hair. And yes, that's a choice as well. But sometimes as well, you think, oh my gosh, the amount of money that you have to spend, just to get your hair washed and straightened or washed and blow dried is a lot. And I think, okay, I might as well do it myself. So it's such a huge thing, such a welcome idea. There's one thing I worry about though. And when I saw, oh, they're all to receive the training, do we have enough trainers now to train all the hairdressers in the UK on how to, at the least, wash and cut Afro hair?
Mm.
So that's
That's actually, yeah, that's a very fair question. I actually, that's a very, very, very question. I know one educator actually. She's based in between Swansea and Wales. Sorry, between London and Wales, and I think she's just gonna be very busy. Those women,
well, we're going to need
those
more of
people,
her, because
exactly.
I don't know what the population of hairdressers is in the United Kingdom, but it must be a couple of thousands.
Yes, indeed.
And
Wow.
to get them all trained, we would probably need a couple of more thousands, of trainers who know how to handle Afro hair and who can then, deliver those trainings.
Indeed.
Otherwise, we're still going to be stuck for a little while, maybe.
Yeah, I think about that, but I don't really know the dynamic that goes there, so I can't really comment. But all I think is those women who have the knowledge, this is gonna be a couple of good year to finally get their voice heard. Because I think, for example, the educator that I know, she has been um, uh, campaigning in her own ways, in her world, in as a hairdresser and as an educator, for people to be educated. So it must be such a pleasure to actually finally win that battle
Yeah.
that they have been fighting for. So those women who do have that knowledge, these are great times for them, rewarding times of all the knowledge that they can actually practice and actually share. It's really nice to share something that you know with other people, but knowing that thanks to them, this newly trained hairdresser will go and actually give opportunity and for women to get their hair done much more easily everywhere. It must just feel good. It must feel
And,
good for them.
and it must be a big opportunity for Mayana as well.
I have to say, I
Very
believe it's
timely
still, yeah,
opportunity,
yeah,
to buy into that, because as soon as the hairdressers get trained, voila, there's going to
yeah.
be that Mayana product, that tool waiting for them. So it's going to be a lot easier probably
I
than
really believe so actually, because I very see the detangling tool like an educative tool. It's something that some of the mom, when they come trial it, they actually get their daughter to do their hair. Do you see what I mean? So
yeah.
I see it already within a household. As a mom, it's a tool that you can leave your daughter and give it to her for her to, it's like, because as I was telling you, um my mom kind of refused to do different things. I was forced to,
Mm-hmm.
in a way you have kind of to create the structure. But I think the detangler will kind of, enable the mom to actually make do half of it and then give to the doctor and say, okay, now you try it and do the other
Yeah.
side. So
Yeah.
we learn to actually care
It's a
for her.
learning.
And
Yeah.
I
It's
think
going to be
even
a
for
learning
a
process.
person who is a Caucasian person or an Asian person, somebody who doesn't have Afro hair, the tool will really bring ease into the process of washing it and applying conditioner. And
Hmm.
then that's that applic conditioning and detangling part is actually the most challenging part,
Yeah.
regarding caring for the natural hair. I'm not speaking about braiding and stuff like that. That is kind of like the most challenging part. So when that is taking part, it will be fab. So I do see that it is a great opportunity, very, very timely for
Mm.
me actually, because
Mm.
it could potentially be a tool that is being used in schools, in hairdressing schools, to teach
Absolutely.
people how to care for Afro hair.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel so envious of the young girls who are going to be using this, or I will be using it myself, but I'm at an age now where I can bear the pain of combing my hair. The difficulty is with the younger girls and the pain that they go through when, their mothers are combing through their hair. And it just reminds me of my childhood. I think when I was younger, my hair was even nappier than it is now. And I
Yeah.
remember those days when my mom used to do my hair, and I would
Mm.
scream and scream because it hurt so bad, because of how very thick and, really tangly our hair gets,
Mm.
especially after we've washed it. And goodness me, God bless my African mother, who would have no mercy on me combing through my hair. And she's thinking, why are you screaming so loud? What's wrong? Well, don't you know? But I'm only all I'm doing. I'm not killing you. I'm only combing your hair.
Oh la la.
Having the comb go through the hair.
Yeah.
So
Hilarious.
just thinking about how easy it's going to be, for young black girls now to just comb through their hair, and I think probably that's one of the challenges that a
Mm.
lot of black women have had with their hair.
Mm. Mm.
And this is why many of us have taken to the fashion of wearing wigs and hair
Mm.
extensions. It's
Mm.
sort of, well, not just apart from the fact that it's fashionable,
Mm.
it also keeps you away from that worry,
Mm.
about
Mm.
what to do with your hair. So
Mm.
it gives you a little break from the struggle of caring for your afro hair.
Indeed, indeed.
You just braid it and you just wear the wig, which I mean, myself growing older now, I can't say I'm not fashionable, by the way, not in any way. I think that wearing a wig for me or hair extensions is more of a convenience thing.
Yeah, indeed. I think
Yeah, because of the
personally,
nappy nature of my hair, I just think, oh, I can't wake up every day. I've got to get to work. I've got childcare. I've got school runs. I've got this. I've got that. And spending time combing through your hair, you just think, no, I can't be bothered. I'll just put it in plaits. I'll just wear a wig, or I'll just, put in some extensions for a couple of weeks, and that's it. You're spared that. However,
mhm,
extensions and wigs have become pretty much a part of the style and fashion of Black women as well.
mhm.
Is it something that's common with you? I know you told me. Have you had wigs before?
No, no, as I say, my mom, from where we are from, we do our hair very regularly, and then when she came to France, my mom never relaxed her hair. She relaxed her hair once and she regretted. She was like, oh my God, my hair is gone. So she forbid any of us to do it, my four sisters. So for me, and also hair means a lot to me in specific places. For me, as I say, growing up in France, where I didn't feel represented, I didn't feel welcome as a person of color. I can be quite rebellious when people kind of like, when I don't feel accepted, I'll be the type of person like, you know what, this is what I am, take it or leave it. So my hair was part of that whole thing of, this is me, take it or leave it. I'm not even asking you to take it. This is me, full stop. So I will wear my hair, and I made it a point. Anytime I was presenting as a researcher, as a Black female researcher, um, in conferences, when I'm going to San Francisco, when I'm going to, conferences in Cambridge, I will wear my hair out because I wanted any young girl that might be a PhD student any young man that might be, that look at me and they see me, that we occupying those spaces,
Yeah.
because for me, the partly the reason why I never did anything to my hair, because is almost like I didn't want to. It was almost a form of a huge part of my identity that I did not want to dilute. And also, I wanted you to say, you know what, here I am, and I am doing science. I'm speaking at a conference, and it's just fine. And it's important. I think it's really important. I always had that thing of being mindful that who's looking at you,
Okay.
because I remember this amazing woman came in my school when I was like maybe 15, this mixed race girl, she has like big curly hair, and she just taught us physics during this experiment for the whole morning. And I had no teachers that were black. I had no teachers that were black. And for me as a kid, having that woman doing physics with her hair in its natural state, meant a lot to me. So I'm always mindful of who is
Yeah.
looking at me. So I made a personal choice to actually always, keep things in a way that other girls can identify themselves with me, and actually just be like, you know what, yes, I can do engineering in a university and exciting science, and actually, be me,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. And I
is
think that's the most important thing. It's that idea or concept of being you,
yeah,
and taking pride in who you are through your hair,
yeah,
and how your hair speaks for you, how your hair shows up for you. My personal experience is pretty much, that I do love wigs and I do love extensions. They're very fashionable. And especially now, how extensions and wigs have evolved.
yes,
And
indeed.
it's a multi-million-dollar industry for Black women, especially.
Mm,
I mean, all women wear wigs, but for Black women especially. And I know that women do wear wigs and extensions for different reasons.
mhm.
Some are due to medical
Yes,
reasons,
indeed,
but
right.
a lot of it as well is just the fashion is so beautiful, and there's the variety of wigs that are out there. Every time I see them, I think, oh my God, I wish I could afford them all. But I'm in the sort of place now where it's not so much a fashion for me
Mm,
as it is, what I said earlier on, convenience.
mm.
And I've never considered myself fashionable anyway. Yumna, I've had to yank off my wig on a Zoom meeting once. I
Oh,
shouldn't be saying this. I shouldn't be saying this. I should be really embarrassed to say this, ashamed of myself to say this, because I think it would be a shameful thing to womanhood. But hey, this is me. I took it off, and my friends were like, luckily, it was an old student, so we're all mates, right? We know each other
yeah.
and everything. But everybody was like, oh, you how could you do that? How could you just take it off? Are you not ashamed? I said, no. I said, I'm hot. It was a very warm day. It was a very warm day, and I was absolutely boiling. And I thought, you know what? Don't even try to be like all these beautiful, fashionable. Just take it off if you can't. If you can't take it off, take it off. But so it gives me, I have that sense of control
Yeah.
with the look. With the wig, with the extension, without it, I'm all right. I just love the fact as well that I go out and my friends look at me and they think, oh, you are an amazing woman. You have the power to, do your hair in different ways. One day your hair is short, another day is long. I said, well, that's the beauty of fashion, hair, Afro fashion, because I can wear my hair in any way I want to. They can
Yeah.
see me like this with the Afro.
Yeah.
And the next day I've got to, wig or weave on right down to there. And, you
Yeah.
can do all sorts of things. It's that versatility that we
Oh.
have. I think that's a very beautiful thing, and you can't take that away from us.
Well, I wish I could try, but my scalp is way too sensitive to take anything. My scalp.
There will always be, yeah, there will always be people like that. I find
Yeah.
now, as I'm getting older, my scalp, there's very little that my scalp can take,
Can take,
which
yeah.
is why I've reverted more to, if I have to do anything, other than have my hair on, is wear a wig rather than,
A braids
weave
or
on,
yeah.
because, it's
It's
so,
painful.
yeah, it's that sewing on and, The
Yeah,
tugging
it's
of the
painful.
hair when you get it braided as well, in preparation for the extensions to come on as well. I find my scalp is
Yeah.
increasingly not being able to take it. But there we are.
Yeah, I think so. But back home, we do this thing, yeah. When we do our braids, we do them very loose. So it's funny because the way we do hair is quite different from most places the way they do hair. So, for example, when we do hair, we soak the hair in moisturizer. We don't blow dry it and then braid it because the hair is going to be like that maybe for a good 2 weeks. So you actually need moisturizer. And then we do them very loose because we say that if it's loose, it's by actually getting it to be loose, the hair grow more. So the mindset that I have with actually how people do hair in general and how I was taught in my island is quite different. And so I'm used to that's why my mom will do our hair every single week because they will be very loose. So you refresh them every single day, and we'll do like big fatty ones, not thin ones, because the thin one the hair breaks more. So the whole concept for me, and in the way I was raised and what I was taught, and actually the general way people do hair is so different that if I have to the patience, I have to practice your name of sitting there having like small brains. I have no patience. I was like, just because just because I'm used to it, and I'm just like this is like 4 hours of my life that I will never get back. I could be doing so much more with my time. So it's just the different habits and the different experience and the different teaching that I had from my childhood, from my upbringing, that is very, very different. So it's the concepts are very different. So that's why I also tend to do things by myself, because I kind of continue that, and my scalp just didn't get used to actually being able to take tension and stuff like that. So yeah, every I guess, although we are black, we all come from different cultures, different
Yeah.
ways of doing things, different way of managing it. So, and we have a different point of view on it.
You know, what is the future for Black women and Afro hair care? What do you see?
I think that the trend is usually changing. I think women are, the women are much more in touch with who they are, and I think lots of women are tired of actually, kind of hiding. Because the truth is, we can say that having a different hairstyle is nice, but for some women, it was not just about having different hairstyle. It was also about fitting into the general beauty standards, And I have to say that as I'm going into this process of, doing all of this engagement with different women, it was so nice to hear the beautiful story of the awakening of some of the women in their shifts and realization, personal realization about what things might mean for them. And also the market, as the market is really big for different things, wigs, weave, extension and stuff. I think things now, the thing is, people are wearing more their hair in its natural state. We
Yeah.
have things like the Afro Care Day, we have things like the Hello Code. Because the thing is, I have to say, I think there is a difference for different people. The idea of identity. I think, when you're born, is, when you're born in a country, and this is kind of like, how can I say this? Coming from my own island, having used to see so many Black women with their natural hair, it was easier for me arriving in France facing racism to actually be, yeah, this is it. Because I've seen for 7 years before moving to France, I've seen women who just look like me being the standard. But being raised and being born in this country and then actually having that difference, we need to be, I'm loving the fact that, there is so much work being done in school, with the things like the helicopter for young girls, just like, the one I used to look after, to be like, my hair is beautiful, and we need that. So I think the future is exciting because, yes, we have that versatility of hair that women can wear, but women are also wearing their hair in a celebration, acceptance of who they are, and just, and that's beautiful because is where we should be,
Mhm.
is where we should be. And I think I'm excited for those young girls who's going to grow into this new era where they have the choices, but they also at the same time as confident and as comfortable to just be, what, I'm gonna rock my fro today, and just like, yeah, I feel good, and that's it. And that's beautiful.
I'm gonna rock my fro today. That's what I've done now. I've rocked my fro.
Exactly.
Rocked my fro today. Rocked my fro.
And
But
even if she doesn't decide to rock it, she feels good about it. She feels like,
yeah,
you know, she feels beautiful as it is. That is hugely important.
yeah, very important, very important. So well, I don't want to say last of all, but you come from a very unusual background,
Mm,
especially for Black women. The
mm,
STEM subjects,
mm,
that field of
mm,
science, where
mm,
there are very few women, and you have excelled, to the level where you are now, and
mm,
you've taken it further,
mm,
by becoming an entrepreneur on top
mm,
of all your achievements in the academics.
mm.
What word of encouragement would you have for young aspiring Black women?
I would say, first, I think something that I believed a lot when I was young, coming from my parents were not wealthy. I come from a huge family of eight, and things were not necessarily easy for my parents, but my dad valued hugely education. My dad valued education, and he told me, and somehow seeing the system, I just thought, that's personally for me, I was like, education is my key. I needed to get that education, so but actually when you're in the system, I think it's just making sure it doesn't matter what you decide to do as an individual. I chose science because I loved it. Okay, I love the challenge that it came from, and that thing of pushing your own boundaries and not understanding something and then having a moment like, oh my god, I get it. It just always gave me a thrill. But I think to any young person, I would say go for what you want and don't let anybody tell you that you cannot do it. And it's easier said than done, but I think the way to kind of check in, you need to check in with yourself. And I say, ask yourself, am I not doing that because I think I'm not capable? Am I not doing that because I think I'm not going to be necessarily be accepted into the environment because I'm going to be the only one? Am I not doing that because that's what, because other people don't want me to do it? Check yourself. And if the answer is based on fear, is the answer is fear of failure, fear of being accepted, fear of not being accepted, fear of letting go people, go ahead and do what you want to do. If the answer is like, you know what, I'm not doing this thing because really this is not what I want to do, but I'm pursuing this with all of my heart, do go for that. I think that self-checking is about challenging ourselves and just keeping in mind and knowing that you can do anything you set your mind to as an individual. Of course, it's just kind of having that determination, and what I was speaking at the beginning of, the discipline that you put on to be able to pursue what you want to pursue. So to the young people, I'm saying go 100%. If something, not only it's a beautiful field, where you learn to when you learn to think, is a beautiful thing. You become such a you see something and you just don't think, and that mindset you take into different aspects of your life. When there's a problem, okay, how can I approach it, how can I solve it? It's a field where you learn, because you also work in team of diverse people, a chemist, a physicist, a mathematician. So communication wise, you really get challenged and you actually grow because of that. And it's a field which is very respectful, because we come together with our different minds and we converse and we bring different things to the table. And there are lots of different careers that you can get out of science, whether you decide to go into academia like I was, entrepreneurship. Lots of engineers, scientists do go into entrepreneurship because they have new ideas and invention. Whether you decide to go into a business or corporation, the wideness of the career is crazy. And actually the wealth and the growth that you have as an individual by studying those fields is things that you can take into different fields, not only of your career but also of your life. So I will hugely encourage them to go for sciences. And yeah, and
Oh
we need
gosh,
more,
that
we
is
need
very
more.
powerful. That is very powerful. I think I'm going to leave it there, just so I don't adulterate all the important things that you've said. And it's all about pushing boundaries. It's all
Yeah,
about pushing boundaries. Do not be afraid to take challenges when they come your way.
indeed, yeah.
And that life is not about how many times you fall, but how
It's
you get up
true.
and
It's
what you
very
do
true.
with the challenges that come your way.
It's
Thank
true.
you very much, Yumna. That is so profound. And for everyone watching us, I've had Dr. Youmna Mouhamad, Chief Executive of Myana Naturals. Watch out, it's coming. If you don't know where to find it, if you don't know where to get the updates, just stay with PayTalks and I shall give you the good news as it breaks. When it hits the market, you will hear it from me first, and I'll make sure it's global. Thank you so much, Youmna. I really appreciate having you here this evening. Thank you for making up the time. I know how very difficult your afternoon has been because you told me that before we came live on air. And hopefully we will see you again the next time we see you. The product will be in the market. And I would have had the privilege of seeing it and maybe using it myself. So we'll sort of talk about the feedback that we get then. How does that sound
Fantastic.
to you?
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you to all who've watched us today. Keep watching, keep liking, keep sharing, and keep subscribing to our YouTube channel. And that's it from me today. My name still remains Pay Bentu, and I'm signing off for Pay Talks. Thanks, Youmna.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.